All right, let's talk about Milton Williams, who signed a huge deal with the New England Patriots. And my question is simply going to be, was that a good idea? Is it a smart move for the Patriots to pay him this much money, or is it maybe an overpay? We all know he's a good player, so we'll talk about how good of a player he is and how much of a smart move or unsmart move it was. I don't think unsmart is a word. Is it a word? I don't know. I'm not. You can call me an unsmart YouTuber. But anyway, let's get into it. First, the contract details itself. I'll just put it on the screen real quick. You see that his cap hit for this upcoming season will be $14 million, and then it's going to be essentially $30 million for each of the next 3 years. It's worth noting after 2 of those years, they could get out of it if they want to. It would still be $12 million in dead cap, but that would be it. It's also worth noting, at no point can they just cleanly get out of this. Even if they cut him after the 3rd year, they're still going to be paying about $6 million in dead caps. It would save $25 million. So definitely this is a contract structured in a way where they're hoping they can have him play for, all 4 of these seasons. So, okay, anyway, that's where he is on the screen. Let's talk about the Super Bowl, which I definitely think added millions to the pile here for Milton Williams because he was great in the Super Bowl. Watch on this play. It's actually not going to start off fantastic. He gets double teamed, but this was a really important aspect of the Super Bowl in general against Kansas City was they had so many defensive linemen, the Eagles did, constantly just fighting to get to Mahomes. Watch as Williams is able to essentially force Mahomes to run backwards. He has to try and figure something else out. He ultimately threw one up that was nearly intercepted on that play. This is kind of what the Eagles were able to do. And while this play kind of goes unnoticed, this next one certainly didn't. Where again, I'm not going to break too much down pre-snap because pre-snap, it's not going to be the main point of this play. That's where he is on the field. You see Mahomes is going to take the snap, and, it's a stunt right here, so Williams is going more towards the outside by design. Mahomes is trying to take advantage of this, but Josh Sweat is doing a great job at kind of not allowing Mahomes to get to the outside. But watch Williams continue to fight, and after one broken tackle, Williams is able to beat a one who brings down Mahomes and get a sack on that play. Again, it's easy to look at this and say, well, this is just a cleanup sack, and sure, it is. It's definitely a cleanup sack, no denying that. But those plays still matter, and a huge part of what the Eagles did in that Super Bowl was clean up sacks. It was not allowing Mahomes to get outside the pocket where he can be so deadly. And you can't help but think, going to a division with Josh Allen there, who is also so deadly, having a guy like Williams who can fight in these ways can be very helpful. And then, of course, this play, which, this is the key one, right? It was a close game, only 37-6, so definitely could go either way here. You see, obviously I'm joking, you see Williams going up one-on-one against Caliendo here, and you're going to see him do what he typically does in pass rush, driving the guard back, essentially forces the quarterback to, either have to go towards the outside or stand in the pocket. You're not going to be able to step up in the pocket at all. And Williams also gets his arms free, gets over, knocks the ball loose, and the Eagles were able to recover the ball as well. Really strong play by Milton Williams. This was his, this is his career highlight up until this point. He also fell on the fumble as well. That's just great stuff, right? Getting a forced fumble and fumble recovery in the Super Bowl, not so easy to do. He made it look easy. But I want to show some other footage because it was not just a one-off good performance in the Super Bowl that got him this contract. You don't get this contract with a performance, a one-off performance like that. You see right here, one-on-one against the guard. It's actually going to start off very similar to the last play. Again, first just forcing the guard back, and kind of you could really get a good angle of it here. You see how when you're getting pushed back like that as a guard, you just almost naturally lose a little bit of the leverage with your hands. And for that left guard, the left hand is going to be so important. If Williams can get around it, he's going to be in a good shape. And he does knock that arm loose, and when Stafford tries to scramble, there's nowhere for him to go. Williams is able to get the sack. This wasn't the playoff game, by the way. This was earlier in the season when they played. But yeah, great rep there by Milton Williams, and he did this pretty consistently. And he also can be effective in more unconventional ways. Something like this, it's going to be, again, a one-on-one matchup against the guard on a 3rd and 19. Tough spot for Matthew Stafford right here, but watch what happens. So, Stafford takes the snap, and right off the bat, there's really good pressure on the other side for Williams. And that is something that you could argue is maybe even a critique of this contract. Is Williams was in a great situation to succeed where there was constant pressure around him. He did not play every snap. He was not an every snap player with the Eagles. But ultimately, I think you also have to give Williams credit for how he took advantage of being in good situations. Okay, so there's a clearing more more towards the bottom of the screen right here. Well, he reads the play, realizes he can get over there, and he's the one who gets to Stafford for a sack, and again, knocks the ball loose. And listen, we all view fumbles as kind of a lucky thing because to some degree they are. It's an oblong-shaped ball. Who knows how it's going to bounce, right? But ultimately, you get the hand on the ball more as a defender, you're going to knock it loose more as a defender, and if you knock it loose more, you're going to recover it more, right? I figured I could show some PFF grades as well for Williams, and I will say, and this is something that did back up on tape. I didn't really find great examples of it, but you see the pass rush grade, great. Second best among interior defensive linemen in football this past season. Okay, fantastic. The run defense stuff isn't great, and part of why I couldn't show a lot of great clips to display it was because he didn't actually go out there a lot on first downs. That's part of what I'm saying when he wasn't an every snap player. On obvious running situations, he usually wasn't on the field. So there is a definitive not great part of his game and great part of his game. On third downs, he is electric and still one of the best, not still, but he's currently one of the best pass rushers in the business from the interior. So ultimately, how do I view the New England Patriots making this move? It is a bit of an overpay. It is. It's a bit of an overpay, I think, for Milton Williams. And I quite frankly think that they had to overpay him to get him on the roster. Listen, would it be perfect to, instead of be paying him $26 million a year, if you were paying him $20 million a year? Yeah, that would make you feel better. And I know even with the cap jump, I still think it's a bit high. Ultimately, they didn't have the option to pay him, $18 million a year. That wasn't on the table. He wasn't going to sign there. You had to give him $26 million or not have him. And the question is it good to overpay a defensive tackle like this to hopefully help build a competitive roster again? And by the time that you might really need that cap space, you could move off of him if you want to. That, I think, is probably a fine move. So I think it's a bit of an overpay. I also think it's okay to overpay players every now and then. I don't think it's the worst idea in the world. And while I do think it's a touch much for what he brings, and he brings a lot. He's good player, not known for his run defense, but is known for his pass rush. He's a really good player at that. I think spending a little bit of extra money to get him on the roster and, again, help build, hopefully, first a playoff caliber roster before you can worry about building a championship caliber roster, I think it's a fine move, and I have no issue with the Patriots doing it. So if that all makes sense, it makes sense in my head. Hopefully it makes sense to you. But if it doesn't, or if it does, let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from y'all, and of course, as always, thanks for watching. Hey, thanks for watching to the end of that video. I do appreciate it. If you want to see my other channel, Jackson Kruger Movies, where I talk about movies, give some film reviews and stuff like that of a different kind, if that seems like your kind of thing, the link is in the description below for that, as is the link for my Twitter account. I'm at Jackson Kruger, so give me a follow on there if that's your kind of thing. And also, of course, remember to hit the subscribe button on this channel. I do always appreciate it, and thanks again for watching to the end of the video.